Hello, bankers. A very good morning to all of you. Welcome back. So, welcome to JAIIB CIB Prep. So, I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to all of you. So, quickly join in so we can start our today's discussion. All right. So, a very good morning to all of you guys. Uh, Today, we are going to continue with our discussion based on PPB Module A, and today we will be targeting Unit 1 and Unit 2 and Unit 3. So AML and KYC guidelines, and then next one is operational aspect of KYC. Okay, so in our previous session where we generally talk around our very first unit, so I hope that is clear to all of you, right? So now with the today's discussion, we will start with our unit number second. So if you talk about the unit number second, it is all about AML and KYC guidelines. Very important units. So you can expect at least 1.5 marks question based on this particular topic itself. Okay. So if you talk about this particular topic, it is categorized between two major areas. Okay. So first आपका money laundering and financing of terrorism. Okay. Then we have the another subtopic is AML framework in India. Then we have KYC policy. Then the remaining subtopics like organizational setup for AML, obligation under PMLA. Then we have risk management, obligation under international agreements or which is international transaction and all. FATF identified jurisdictions, correspondent banks reporting under FATCA and CRS, reporting obligations, implications of non-compliance of PMLA. Then we have secrecy obligations. So these are the subtopics which are generally part of this particular one. Okay. So a very good morning to all of you guys. So I hope you guys are doing well with your exam preparation. See, now we have almost 1 month in our hand. Okay. So till 15th and 20th, we will be trying cover up maximum portion of this PPB subject. See, there are some topic, very small topic also, which like where we can cover uh, at least 3 topics in a session, and some topics which are bit lengthy, like topic 1, topic 2. So for that sake, it will be required at least 1 hour for one topic. And the challenge which we face with this particular subject is like it is very subjective because we have so many guidelines, so you have to remember those particular guidelines, and the questions will be maximum in the form of application or statement based question. All right, so today's discussion we will start with the what is like the first ground for this particular one is money laundering activities as well as terrorist financing. And at international level we have FATF, फाइनेंशियल एक्शन टास्क फोर्स. ठीक है, सो जिसकी द्वारा बहुत सारी जो कंट्रीज हैं उनको आपका कई बार FATF की लिस्ट में आपका डाला जाता है. ठीक है, जैसे पाकिस्तान बहुत बार रहा है, श्रीलंका आपका रहा है. ठीक है, सो वी हैव ग्रे लिस्ट, ब्लैक लिस्ट एंड ऑल. ठीक है, and if you are doing specific transaction in these particular countries, so they are kind of suspicious transactions. ठीक है, so उनको आपका स्पेशल मॉनिटरिंग आपका यहाँ से जो देखने के लिए आपको मिलेगा. राहुल सर, वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग. ठीक है, सो money laundering is a process of discussing illegal obtained funds as legitimate by the moving them through a financial system. It is closely linked to crime like corruption, tax evasion, Ponzi scheme, or cyber crimes. Basically, like we have so many routes. People, they generally use so many routes to curb the to infuse the black money in the system. So and government also have so many initiatives to curb these particular activities, right? तो बहुत सारे ऐसे एरियाज हैं आपका जहाँ पे जो ब्लैक मनी का ओरिजिन होता है, एंड people they generally try to use that particular money for any kind of corruption purpose, और कहीं ना कहीं जो टैक्स से रिलेटेड आपका टैक्स के अंदर जो चोरी आपकी की जाती है. एंड पॉन्जी स्कीम्स लाइक जैसे चिट फंड्स के अंदर वी हैव एक्सपीरियंस सो मेनी फ्रॉड्स एंड ऑल. एंड इवन फॉर द साइबर क्राइम ऑल्सो. Another part of this particular topic is something related to terrorist financing team. So there are some international groups or terrorist groups team. So those who are involved in some sort of terrorist activities. So there are some people or nations or organizations, those who generally provide them such fundings. तो उनके जो operations हैं उनके लिए जो उनके पास funds जाता है, ठीक है, it can be in the form of blackmailing or the intentional funding also. Okay? So where elect fund are used to support terrorist organization, since both ML and TF use similar method, they are interconnected here. So criminal networks such as organized crime groups and professional money launderers facilitate these illegal activities. To at international level, to deal with these bigger problems, we have one board which is known as Financial Action Task Force. Is a global organization that set a standard to combat money launderings and terrorist financing team. FATF introduced the FATF standards in 2012, which provide anti-money laundering guidelines and counter-terrorism financing measures. Globally, ML and TF are recognized as a serious criminal offense requiring strict regulations and enforcement. Okay? So these are the two bigger challenges where we are basically doing some sort of money manipulation, money manipulations. Okay? So money का जो manipulation आपका हो रहा है, that is like we are using that particular amount for the illegal activities and all. So with that particular concern, there are certain international guidelines or even in India also. तो जो RBI की जो different guidelines and all. So that is the core content of this particular topic. So now with the help of number of MCQs or statement based questions and application based questions, we will try to build our understanding toward these specific areas. All right, so shall we start, guys? Everyone, very good morning. ठीक है, साथ साथ में आप ऑफिस के लिए रेडी होते रहिए और साइड बाय साइड आप इनको देखते रहेंगे, ठीक है. देन I'll include practice questions also, ठीक है. So that will help you practice question with detailed solutions. So if you go through these particular one again and again, so that is definitely going to help you out. So very first question on your screen. So quickly go through the question and try to answer these particular question also. So which of the following statement about money laundering and terrorist financing are correct? So you have to find out the correct statement related to ML and TF. So professional money launderers and organized crime groups often collaborate to facilitate financial crimes as well as your terrorist activities. So 100% true. First statement is 100% correct. Terrorist organization use financial system similar to commercial entities involving fundraising, movement, and storage and utilization of fund also. Statement 2 is also correct. So what they generally do, they generally raise funds from different countries to meet their motives. So basically, if any terrorist organization is running, they also have some sort of expenses to meet with those particular आपका expenses. They generally raise these particular funds. वो हो सकता है किसी को डरा धमका करके ले रहे हैं या फिर आपका अलग अलग फॉर्म में आपका ले रहे हैं. मतलब like we can say the source of funds can be intentional or it can be unintentional or forceful also, right? So the primary goal of money laundering is to directly fund terrorist activities across different countries. So see, if you talk about this particular statement, this is not the right statement. So this is very first incorrect statement, because the primary goal of money laundering is not terrorist activities. It is one of the goal of money laundering, or it is like indirectly it is linked with the terrorist financing or terrorist activities. But इसके अलावा भी it can be related to corruptions. मतलब it start with the corruption things, Ponzi schemes and all, or it can be contribute to terrorist activities or not. So we cannot specifically mention कि the primary goal or the end goal of money laundering is terrorist activities. So the integration stage of money laundering involve placing illicit fund into multiple बैंक अकाउंट, ठीक है. सो इंटीग्रेशन स्टेज इज लाइक दिस इज आपका प्लेसमेंट स्टेज, नॉट द इंटीग्रेशन स्टेज, ठीक है. सो वील टॉक अबाउट द थ्री डिफरेंट स्टेजेस अंडर द मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्टिविटीज, ठीक है. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो इनकरेक्ट. FATF standard 2012 provide recommendations for the financial institution and certain non-financial businesses to combat ML and TF. This is 100% true. Okay? So we have to find out the correct statement. That means 1, 2, and 5. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 5 means option C will be right answer for this particular question. All right. Yes. Very good. So I can see your comments also. Okay. Money laundering involves so many things. Yes. Very good, Rahul sir. Yes. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So statement third was incorrect. The primary goal of money laundering is not directly financing terrorist activities, but concealing illicit money. However, some launderers, they may involve in those particular activities also. Okay? So this is a kind of a source for the terrorist. It can be a source for the terrorist financing. ठीक है, तो ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं कि हर कोई जो मनी लॉन्डर्स हैं, they are involved in that particular one. They can involve in आपका like money making business और आपका corruption, or it can be terrorism also. ठीक है. Statement fourth was incorrect. Integration is the final stage where money launderers, they generally reinvest that particular one into illegal activities, like they can purchase the properties. So basically in integration stage what they are doing, they are converting that black money into white money. ठीक है, तो वो क्या कर रहे हैं, आपका उसको इलीगल तरीके से आपका कहीं पे इन्वेस्ट करके उसको व्हाइट मनी में कन्वर्ट करने का काम कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. सो फॉर दैट से into a legal businesses, not placed into multiple accounts. ठीक है. So which is during the phase of placement. ठीक है. So आपका this is the अगर हम लोग बात करें that is something related to placement, not related to integration आपका. ठीक है. So that is, these are the pointers. We'll talk about these different stages of money laundering as well as terrorist finance activities. ठीक है, with this particular question only. ठीक है. So which of the following statement best describe the primary objective of layering stage in a money laundering process? ठीक है. So what is money laundering that we have discussed so far, ठीक है, with our very first question. And there is one question around the process of money laundering, ठीक है, which has 3 stages. And out of these 3 stages, the question is around the layering stage. ठीक है. तो ये जो layering stage आपका होता है, इसमें बेसिकली कौन सी एक्टिविटीज आपकी हो रही होती है, ठीक है. टू इंट्रोड्यूस इलिक्ट फंड इनटू द फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम थ्रू अ बैंक डिपॉजिट. इट इज समथिंग लाइक they do not use the bank deposits and all. So they generally use where they can make investment in cash and all. Usually, if you talk about the domestic market, it can be investment in properties. अभी properties में भी कम हो गया because we have certain limits आपका, but still it can be managed in that particular area also. ठीक है. So this is not the right one. To conceal the origin of illicit fund by conducting multiple financial to obscure their origins. This is typically include method of transferring money between multiple accounts, making complex transactions, using intermediaries to create a web of financial movements. So now if you talk about this entire process, so this part is very important one. So stages of money laundering. So many times we'll see one question, either it is based on the money laundering stages or the terrorist financing stages, right? So I'll also take your questions if you have any questions. So funds from the criminal activities are typically generated outside the financial system and are placed to give them legal form. So it is basically in the form of black money. So now we are generally what at the end or at the final stage, which is called integration. So what we generally trying to do, we are trying to convert that black money into white money by placing that particular funds in different activities, right? So it has 3 major stages. First one is placement. So in this particular stage, the fund from a criminal activity are introduced in the financial system. So here, like it can be in the form of corruption or it can be in the form of Ponzi schemes and all, where we are like basically we are collecting that particular money or we are raising that particular money from different activities. So into the financial system, टिपिकली दिस इज डन थ्रू द डिपॉजिट इन मल्टीपल बैंक अकाउंट्स, ठीक है। दूसरा आपका सेकंड स्टेज इज लेयरिंग, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट, those funds are passed through the numerous financial transactions in these accounts, creating a several layers of the fund transfer. This help hiding the source of the funds. Like let's say if we have a guidelines ki 50,000 or usse upar aapko you have to present the PAN cards. So what people are generally doing, they are making a transaction of 40,000 rupees at different time interval, as well as they are using different accounts to manage that particular money, okay? The third one is integration. The next step is collecting the funds, laying in multiple accounts in one or few accounts that are then deployed for investing in some legal business activities or for the acquiring some asset in legitimate manners. ठीक है, तो like this is the final stage where we generally finally collecting that particular money back, and we are investing that particular one in some legal businesses and all, and we are officially converting that particular one into white money itself, right? So this is a kind of things which is generally part of this one, okay? No, it is fine, Rahul. It is fine from my side, I guess. Yes, huh? Anyone else who is facing this particular one? Okay, is this clear, guys? Yes or no? If you have any doubt, please do let me know in the comment section. So these are the three major stages of placement. Then we have layering, and then we have integration. All right, Rahul sir and Anjali ma'am and other also. Is this clear? Yes. Okay. So this is very important one. So many times you'll see in the form of half marks question also, or the maximum probabilities for 1 marks, and they'll give you a application based questions or the sequence and all. So you have to take care about this one. Okay? So money launderings, the three major activities: placement, where we are basically like let's say if we have some sort of black money, okay? So we are introducing that black money in the market. Okay? This is layering. We are placing that money with the help of layering, where we are depositing small account amounts, or we are doing some sort of like we are storing that money for a specific time duration by with a proper diversification, basically in that case. And integration is basically where we are kind of making a fair business investments and all, by using that black money and all. So that generally comes under this particular one. Next one, guys, how does integration stage contribute to the completion of the money laundering process? So integration stage, this is the final stage which we have discussed earlier also. So now I hope everybody will be able to answer this question. So integration stage, which is the final stage of your money laundering. तो मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के अंदर, एंड व्हाट हैपन इन द इंटीग्रेशन स्टेज. सो जो हमने अलग अलग अकाउंट्स में आपका पैसा रखा होता है, ठीक है, नाउ जॉइंट वी आर मेकिंग सम इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, ठीक है, उसको कलेक्ट करके वी आर मेकिंग सम इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड वी आर कन्वर्टिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर ब्लैक मनी इनटू व्हाइट मनी इटसेल्फ, राइट? सो आपका इट इंश्योर दैट इलेक्ट फंड आर डिपॉजिटेड इनटू मल्टीपल अकाउंट्स. नो, इट इज नॉट द stage. This is our second stage, which is your layering stage. It hide the source of elect funds by moving them through several financial transactions. It allow the launderers funds to be used in legal investment and asset acquisitions. It prevent authorities from the tracking elect fund. This is the again layering stage, and this is again layering stage. So option C will be right answer for this particular one. Yes, very good. Okay. So integration stage is the final step in the money laundering process. At the point the elect funds which have gone through placement and layering appear to be legally earned. Okay. The launderer's money is now reintroduced into the economy through the legitimate investments, such as mostly it is used in real estate or shell companies. The people, they generally form fake companies and all, fake businesses and financial instruments. So जहाँ पे like we are showing कि let's say we have a company and it is doing that much of sale, वो सेल पे हम टैक्सेस भी पे कर रहे हैं, एंड वी आर शोइंग सम फेक इनवॉइसेस एंड ऑल, एंड जहां से वी कन्वर्ट दैट ब्लैक मनी इनटू व्हाइट मनी इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, तो दैट इज द फाइनल स्टेज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर एरिया. ठीक है. So now the next one is related to terrorist financing and the stages. We have 4 different stages under that particular one. which of the following best describe the purpose of storing stays in the financing of terrorism? Okay. So terrorism financing, which has four major stages. Okay. So out of these four stages, one stage is आपका स्टोरिंग. ठीक है, तो स्टोरिंग स्टेज आपका जहां पे वी कीप दैट पर्टिकुलर मनी साइलेंट फॉर अ टाइम बी. ठीक है, कुछ समय के लिए हमने आपका उस पैसे को वी आर नॉट यूटिलाइजिंग, वी आर होल्डिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर मनी फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक टाइम ड्यूरेशन. ठीक है, टू कलेक्ट फंड फ्रॉम sympathize or both individual and organization no to transfer funds across different location for the operational purpose. This is the final one. To temporarily hold funds in financial institutions बिफोर द डिप्लॉयमेंट्स. ठीक है, सो जिससे कि आप जैसे हमने अलग अलग सोर्सेज से लाए पैसा. ठीक है, बिफोर प्रोवाइडिंग दैट मनी टू दी terrorist groups and all. ठीक है, so what we generally do, we hold that particular money जिससे कि मतलब like if any organization who found that those particular transactions suspicious, तो एक कुछ समय के लिए एक्टिविटी नहीं होगा, सो वो आपके उनके कहीं ना कहीं नजरों में नहीं आएगा. सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस पर्टिकुलर वन दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टोरिंग द मनी आपका. ठीक है, सो द ऑप्शन सी. ठीक है, so the storing stage involve holding the raised funds in bank account or other financial investments. ठीक है, before being utilized for terrorist activities. This step ensure that funds are available when needed and can be spread over time to avoid the detections also. ठीक है, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो financial institutions हैं आपका, उनके या जो भी आपका इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं जो टेररिस्ट फाइनेंसिंग को रोकने के उसमें काम कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, वो उसको इजीली डिटेक्ट ना कर पाए, फॉर दैट सेक दे हैव अ स्टेज दैट इज जनरली नोन एज आपका स्टोरिंग स्टेज. ठीक है, सो इट हैज फोर मेजर स्टेजेस. पहला आपका रेजिंग फंड्स. ठीक है, सो टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सोर्स फंड्स फ्रॉम देयर sympathizers. ठीक है, जो आपके बेसिकली सपोर्टर्स काइंड ऑफ दोज हु जनरली सपोर्ट दैट काइंड ऑफ आइडियाज. ठीक है, बोथ इट कैन बी इंडिविजुअल्स और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ठीक है, जिसमें आपका दे कैन डू द क्राउड फंडिंग्स और even it can be some organizations in countries who are generally providing them fundings. Sometimes terrorist outfit also engage in various income generating activities like legal or criminal. Channeling funds from both such sources is done in clandestine manners so that the purpose for which these are collected is not known. Okay? So they are raising that particular funds for some different purposes, like they are showing ki we are funding to some hospitals or some like for the treatment of the peoples, or it can be for some like आपका NGOs और आपका education purpose. मतलब they'll show some मतलब कुछ एक आपके जो डेवलपमेंटल एजेंडाज हैं उनको ध्यान में रखते हुए, और बेसिकली दे रेज दैट पर्टिकुलर मनी थ्रू दैट पर्टिकुलर वन. ठीक है, जैसे चैरिटी या अदर्स फॉर्म में आपका हो रही है, बट इवेंचुअली दे आर यूजिंग. ये करने का रीजन है कि लाइक वो कहीं ना कहीं आपका जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जो कहीं ना कहीं एंटी टेररिज्म के अगेंस्ट में आपका काम कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, उनमें आपका वो चीज ना निकल के आए. ठीक है, सो देन सेकेंड स्टेज इज मूविंग. ठीक है, कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटर टू the terrorist organization can be located anywhere, not only in their home country but across the world. So these funds are therefore required to move to places of their establishment of terrorist organization. Okay? Let's say they have raised funds from country A and they are going to do some activity in some country Z. So that moments कि उनको वहां पे funds की requirement है, so what can like how they can move that particular money from A to Z आपका. ठीक है, तो वो सारी चीजें जो इसमें आपके होंगे. ठीक है, then after the movements the third stage is storing. ठीक है, so for a time being they'll hold that particular money. ठीक है, जब तक उसका actual आपका यूज नहीं होता. ठीक है, so as the funds raised may be deployed for the terrorism related activities including the regular activities for running the outfit with a gap of time and spread over a period. These are parked in the interim in bank accounts or any other financial investments. Then finally आपका using, finally the raised funds are used for the purpose of carrying out the terrorism act or for various organizational related activities. So these are the four major stages under the financing of terrorism. So how basically terrorist organizations they generally mobilize that particular funds, or they generally raise that particular funds and they how they generally move that particular funds from one country to another one. All right, next one, guys. So now the question is with regard to AML framework in India. Okay. So which of the following statement regarding the AML framework in India are correct? So we have to find out the correct statement related to AML frameworks in India. Okay. So the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, it was passed in 2002, true, established obligation for the financial and certain non-financial entities. They are generally known as reporting entities. Okay? So the very first statement is correct. Okay? Financial Intelligence Unit, Financial Intelligence Unit, FIUIND, is responsible for investigating and prosecuting money laundering crimes in India. So this statement is wrong. Okay? So FIU is generally known for the recognition of these kind of activities कि कहाँ पे ऐसी activities हो रही हैं उनको आपका पता लगाना और उनको report करना, not the investigation and prosecuting. ठीक है, this is generally done by the ED itself. ठीक है, so this is आपका done by ED. ठीक है, जो हमारा enforcement department से वो आपका directorate है उसके द्वारा, not by the FIUs. ठीक है, so this is wrong. Statement 2 is wrong in this case. ठीक है. Then Enforcement Directorate ED has the power to track, attach and confiscate assets related to money launderers. 100% true. So first statement is also correct. Then next one is special courts are set up for educating money launderers cases and have the authority to freeze and confiscate related asset. Okay, so they can seize those particular assets and all. Okay, and we form special codes for this particular one. Okay. Under section 4 of PMLA, the punishment for money launderings include imprisonment ranging from 3 to 7 years, which may exceed up to 10 years for offense related to narcotics, drugs, and psychotropic substance act also. Okay. So this is also correct. Okay. The primary source of money laundering and terrorist activities risk is the location of bank branch rather than the customer behaviors. Okay. This statement is wrong. Okay. So bank branches are not the primary sources. It is the customer behaviors or the other sources. Okay. Like how, like basically it is based on the individuals and organization, how they are managing those particular transactions or how they are depositing and they are placing that particular funds with these particular money launderers and all. Branch is like they are a kind of like they do have some to-do list or the checklist and all. So they have to follow those particular one. So sometimes there are certain loopholes in the system, or like if they are depositing in a small amounts and all. So and if it is legal as per the law, so we cannot do anything in that particular case. So in this is the branch is not a primary source. The source is basically the individuals or the organizations, those who are involving in these particular activities also. Okay? So only two statements are wrong. That means 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. So option A only will be right answer for this particular one. Okay? So statement 2 was incorrect. FIU India is responsible for receiving financial transaction report and supervising compliances, but it does not investigate or prosecute crimes. ED is the investigating authority in this particular case. And statement 6, आपका customer behavior is primarily source of ML and FT risk, not the bank branches. All right. So this is clear. Yes, A will be the right answer for this one. So please do go through these particular one. ठीक है. सो कल आपका पीडीएफ मैंने अपलोड नहीं किया था, बट आज मैं आपके सारे जो भी यूनिट जितने भी हम लोग कवर करेंगे उनके पीडीएफ्स को मैं आपका अपलोड कर दूंगा. ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन गाइस. ओके, लेट्स हैव अ क्विक लुक. एक बार जल्दी से देख लीजिए. सो बेसिकली दीज आर द पॉइंटर्स. ठीक है, जहां से हमने इसको आपका पिक किया. ठीक है, सो based on FATF recommendations, India Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 was enacted, under which inter alia few obligations for all financial sector players and certain non-finance businesses have also been stipulated. These entities of the financial sector and the designated business in non-financial sector are termed as reporting entities. Detailed legal provision for RE have been included in Prevention of Money Laundering Act and rules आपका जब इसको हम लोग पढ़ेंगे ठीक है. So financial intelligence unit आपका has been set up for receiving information about various financial transactions from certain businesses including bank and financial institutions. So bank and financial institutions, they'll provide any suspicious transaction with the financial intelligence unit India. Again, FIU is also supervisory power over the business entities that are subject to PMLA. Okay? So it has the supervisory power over the your this reporting entities and all. Okay? So enforcement directorate is the investigating and prosecuting authority for money laundering crimes. Okay? Special courts are, then third one is special courts are set up for education of case pertaining to money laundering crimes. The regulator of various business activities covered under the PMLA issue operating instructions and guidelines for the businesses regulated by them. Like for banking, it is RBI, for SEBI, for capital market, it is SEBI, और for insurance आपका it is the IRDA. ठीक है, PFRDA for pension. तो उनके fields में आपका कैसे कैसे क्या क्या scope है आपका, ठीक है, जहाँ से they can have some sort of money laundering, वहाँ their customers or their जो भी आपके entities हैं, they can get involved in that money laundering or terrorist financing activities intentionally or unintentionally. To prevent that particular one, they also come up with the certain guidelines. Okay? So money laundering offense, it is a criminal offense. Okay? So it is a criminal offense. That means there can be a imprisonment. Okay? So along with the monetary penalties. Okay? So the offense of money laundering has been defined under section 3 of PMLA as whosoever directly or indirectly attempt to indulge or knowingly assist or knowingly is a party or actually involved in any process or activity concerned with the proceed of crime, including its concealments, possessions, and acquisition or use and projecting or claiming it as unattained property shall be guilty for the offense of money laundering. So, Section 45 PMLA stipulate that all offense under PMLA are deemed to be cognizable and non-bailable offense. So section 4 of PMLA stipulate that the punishment for money laundering offense which rigorous imprisonment not less than 3 years but up to 7 years and fine as per the gravity of the offense. There will be some monetary penalties also in case connected with the offense under the narcotics, drugs, and we have psychotropic substance act. The imprisonment may be extended up to maximum 10 years. So usually it is 3 years to 7 years. In case of narcotics and psychotropic substance act, it can be up to 10 years also, along with the monetary penalty. So this is which is like किस तरीके से आपका इसको define किया गया है and the legal aspect of that particular one. So risk perception, if you talk about the risk perception stream, so financial product and services are designed to provide quick, convenient and efficient mode for dealing with funds from different purpose. These are abused by the criminals for money launderings and financing of terrorism by distinguishing and misinterpreting their true identities and profile and purposes. So the primary source of MLFT risk is the customers, not the bank branches. That point was based on this line. So these are also affected by nature of product and services where they can have some sort of loopholes and all. And even to promote some areas, we do have some sort of relaxations from the regulatory bodies also. So they are using those relaxations in a एडवर्स मैनर, ठीक है, तो कहीं ना कहीं उनका फायदा उठा करके दे मेकिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटीज, ठीक है। कंट्री ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ द बैंक, ठीक है, वहां की गाइडलाइंस, जैसे पाकिस्तान के केस में इट कैन बी अ इशू, ठीक है। प्लेस प्लेस ऑफ द बैंक ब्रांच, ठीक है, प्लेस विद विच द ट्रांजेक्शन इज कंसर्न और नेचर एंड वैल्यू ऑफ transactions. So these are kind of factors who generally help to originate these ML and FT FT transactions. ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं, नेक्स्ट वन गाइस। अच्छा, ओके, वन फाइनल थिंग, मेजर टू मिटिगेट मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग रिस्क। सो टू नो और the obligation under PMLA require the bank to mitigate MLFT risk. Bank are required to take appropriate measures for the following purpose. See, एक चीज थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखिएगा कि लाइक wherever you will see something which is related to your KRA, ठीक है, और your KPIs, ठीक है, तो जो आपका की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एरियाज है उनसे रिलेटेड इफ देयर इज सम गाइडलाइंस एंड ऑल ना, सो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। पीपीबी में ऐसा बहुत होगा कि आपकी जो रेगुलर एक्टिविटीज हैं, अब लाइक हाउ यू मतलब इन सिंपल वर्ड्स की what I have to do at my desk that I know very well, but the problem is with guidelines, ठीक है। क्या होता है ना, हमें मतलब रेगुलर बेसिस पे कैसे काम करना है, कौन सा डिपॉजिट लेना है नहीं लेना है, ये जनरली हम लोग हर कोई जानते हैं, बट प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि उनके रिगार्डिंग आपका जैसे पीएमएलए का गाइडलाइंस है अदर्स, तो कई बार वो छोटी छोटी चीजें ना जो आपको जनरली मतलब जो प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में उतनी ज्यादा यूज नहीं होती है बट गाइडलाइंस हैं, तो वो चीजें थोड़ा सा आपको वहां पे प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करेंगे, ठीक है। सो टू नो और अंडरस्टैंड द कस्टमर एंड देयर फाइनेंशियल डीलिंग बेटर, ठीक है। सो द वेरी फर्स्ट आपका काइंड ऑफ measure which we can say to combat these activities, ठीक है। B आपका to detect and report suspicious activities to FIU India as per the laid down procedures, ठीक है। If you found anything suspicious in your branch, ठीक है, to comply with the applicable laws and regulatory guidelines, to adequately train the staff about the KYC AML procedures, ठीक है। These make it difficult for criminal to abuse bank for MLFT as their activities are closely monitored. They mitigate MLFT risk as criminals would avoid vigilant banks, ठीक है। So like ऐसी जो guidelines है, they are very very important one, ठीक है। ऐसा बहुत बार आपका होगा कि जो गाइडलाइन से ओरिएंटेड चीजें हैं दे हैव आस्क्ड इन द पास्ट इटसेल्फ, ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा उस पर आप लोग ध्यान रखिएगा, ठीक है। चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं, नेक्स्ट वन गाइस। Consider the following statement regarding KYC. So now we will be entering into KYC, and the second half of this entire unit is around KYC. ठीक है, even the third unit is itself about the KYC and due diligence, ठीक है। So consider the following statement regarding KYC. This is very simple one, ठीक है। We used to do this particular thing on our regular basis, ठीक है, तो हर दिन हमारा ये काम होता है ब्रांच के अंदर आपका KYC and all, ठीक है। So the identification of customer under KYC norm include both the person in whose name the transaction is conducted and those acting on their behalf, ठीक है। तो अगर उनके behalf में कोई एक्ट कर रहा है तो उसके बारे में भी आपका पूरा इन्फॉर्मेशन होता है, वेरी ट्रू, ठीक है। सो आपका बिल्कुल करेक्ट है, ठीक है। A bank KYC policy must be reviewed at least once in 3 years. What do you say about this statement, guys? बताओ, once in 3 years? No, this is wrong. It should be once in a year. ठीक है, so once in a year, हर साल आपका उसके मतलब KYC must be reviewed at least once in a year, ठीक है, unless these there is a regulatory changes and all, ठीक है। So this make this statement wrong. The primary purpose of obtaining customer introduction before 2002 was comply with AML regulation. No, it was the primary purpose of obtaining customer introduction was before this 2002 AML. It was not part of AML. It was part of NI Act 1881. ठीक है, so Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. ठीक है, so it was part of this one, not part of the AML itself. ठीक है, so this make this statement also wrong. ठीक है, so what we have to find out in this particular one, okay, so the statements are incorrect. ठीक है, so not correct means incorrect. So what will be your correct answer? 2 and 3 means option C will be right answer for this particular one. Understood? Okay, Anjali ma'am, Rahul sir, remaining also those who are watching live, please एटलीस्ट से हेलो हाय, ठीक है, सो वी कैन, सो आई कैन रिकॉल योर नेम, आई कैन रिमेंबर योर नेम, ठीक है, तो थोड़ा थोड़ा याद हो जाएंगे। अगला 2 महीने हमें साथ में रहना है, ठीक है, और 2 महीने हमें बहुत मेहनत करनी है, ठीक है, एंड लाइक मॉड्यूल आपका ए एफ एम एंड आई एन आई एफ एस आई हैव ऑलरेडी डन, ठीक है, आई एन आई एफ एस के कुछ मॉड्यूल आपका अपलोड में है, ठीक है, सो वी विल बी अपलोडिंग दोज पर्टिकुलर हार्ट टू हार्ट, like max to max this weekend itself, so you will be done with that particular one. We have done same type of practice with IN IFS as well as the AFM, ठीक है, so after some time I'll also be coming with the revision classes for those particular ones, especially in the form of marathon itself, ठीक है, then by 20th we will be covering this particular one, and 15 onwards we'll be starting with RBWM. तो अगले 2 महीने साथ में रहना है, तो दोस्ती करके रह लेते हैं बढ़िया से आपका, ठीक है, चलो। सो स्टेटमेंट थर्ड वाज इनकरेक्ट, ठीक है, केवाईसी पॉलिसी मस्ट बी रिव्यूड एटलीस्ट वंस इन अ ईयर, ठीक है, एंड आपका स्टेटमेंट 3 इज इनकरेक्ट, बिफोर 2002 इट वाज प्रोटेक्शन अंडर दी आपका नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट एक्ट 1881, नॉट अंडर दी AML एक्ट, ठीक है, एंड इफ यू गाइज नीड एनी हेल्प प्लीज डू रीच मी आउट थ्रू टेलीग्राम, एंड इफ यू वांट टू टॉक सो जस्ट पिंग मी, आई विल शेयर माय नंबर आल्सो, सो हम लोग आपका जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स है विल ट्राई टू सॉल्व आउट दोस, ठीक है। So section 2HA of PMLA define a customer as client as follow, ठीक है, client means a person who is engaged in a financial transaction or activity with a reporting entity, including a person on whose behalf the person who engaged in the transaction or activity, ठीक है, so this is the definition of your client as per the PMLA Act, ठीक है, this definition has been adopted by RBI Master Directions KYC in 2016, ठीक है, so defining customer, ठीक है, a customer from KYC norm perspective differ in the form of traditional meaning of customers, ठीक है, it include not just a person in whose name the dealing are carried out with the bank, but also those who actually act for such person, ठीक है, दूसरा मतलब जिस अगर लेट्स से इफ आई एम डूइंग ट्रांजेक्शन फॉर मी इटसेल्फ, तो वो तो आपका होगा ही होगा, अगर मेरे भी यहाँ पे समवन एल्स इज डूइंग ट्रांजेक्शन ऑन माय अकाउंट्स, तो वो भी आपका उसमें उसके बारे में भी जानना, ठीक है, इट कवर नॉट ओनली द अकाउंट होल्डर्स एंड those having continued relationship, but also those who avail of any services on one off basis, so that is generally part of this one, ठीक है। So for the purpose KYC requirements, a bank need to include a wide range of a person availing various services like bank account including fixed deposit, या आपका credit facilities, remittance, demat accounts, or even with every transactions customer they generally used to, ठीक है, so following person are also considered as a customer in case of entities availing services, they are financial owners, ठीक है, in case of account maintained by a professional intermediaries for their clients, team brokers are ऐसे जो होते हैं, beneficiaries of the transaction also, ठीक है, so these are basically ये जो भी हमारे interactions होते हैं, they are generally categorized under the client, ठीक है। KYC policy is comprehensive documents, ठीक है, so where we generally required आपका, ठीक है, बहुत सारे एरियाज जो आपको मिलेंगे, comprehensive document that contain norms related to handling of the customers businesses, organization setup for various responsibilities, creating awareness among customers and staff, ठीक है, key elements of KYC policy which is part of your unit 2 itself, ठीक है, तो customer acceptance policy, we have customer identification procedures, risk management and आपका monitoring of transactions, ठीक है, some banks may have two distinct documents over KYC policy, one is customer identification and another one is customer due diligence, ठीक है, so customer identification is the primary one, ठीक है, then due diligence is basically to mitigate the risk, what we generally do आपका CDD, ठीक है, and AML CFT policy to monitor the transactions and reporting to FIU, ठीक है, चलो next one, now based on this if you talk about the compliances, so there is one, basically we have two major posts and sometime it is 3 also, okay, so this question is generally based on that particular one also, okay. So ABC Bank Limited is reviewing the its AML compliance framework to ensure adherence to PMLA regulations. Board of Directors has decided to appoint a senior functionary who will responsible for ensuring the bank overall compliance with the PMLA obligations. It is generally known as designated director. Okay? That post is generally known as designated director for the AML compliance in the bank. Okay? Maintaining an updated KYC policy and ensuring the bank has appropriate AML monitoring system in place. Okay? The bank is a private limited company and board is considering the following individual for this particular role. So X is head of operation team, who should be appointed as responsible functionary for AML compliance in the bank in this case. Okay. So it will be a director level. Okay. Y is a chief compliance officer. Z a whole-time director duly authorized by the board. Yes. The A is a branch manager. No. Okay. तो क्या होगा आपका Z? Mr. Z, a whole-time director. Basically, we need a person who is a whole-time director, and it is they have a designated post for this handling AML compliance frameworks in the bank itself. Okay. So Mr. Z आपका ठीक है. The whole-time directors duly authorized by the board is will be the responsible for these particular one. Okay. So as per PML regulatory guidelines, in case of a company, the designated director is responsible for AML compliance must be a managing director or a whole-time director duly authorized by the board. So G is the best fit in this particular case. So this is the one. So now, like if you talk about the organizational setup for your AML guidelines. So organizational setup for AML. So we have two major one. One is designated director, as we have experienced in with our case study. The another one is principal officer. Okay? So designated directors. A designated director is responsible for overall compliance with the obligation of bank as spelled out in the PMLA section 11A or 12 or 12A and 12AA, PMLR and regulatory guidelines of regulators concerned. Okay. Designated director shall be a functionary who is a managing director or a whole-time directors duly authorized by the board of a regulated entity in the as a company. Managing partner if a regulated entity is a partnership firm. Proprietor if RE is a partnership concern. Managing trust आपका RE is a trust. A person or individual as the case may be who control and manage the affair of RE if RE is an unincorporated association or a body of individuals. Designated directors responsible to ensure that the bank has appropriate functional setup, system and process for KYC AML requirements. Keep the KYC policy duly updated. He has skilled staff at all level. Take a suitable measure with changing complexion of ML and TF risk also. Okay. So designated director who generally lead that particular operations. ठीक है. The ML and AML से related आपके जो activities होते हैं bank level पे, they are generally guided by this one. ठीक है. The another one is principal officer. ठीक है. So this is the another major profile apart from the designated director. We have a principal officer. ठीक है. So bank must designate a senior officer as principal officer in term of PMLA. So the main function is basically he is working under the designated directors and he is actually working on the ground level with the help of your AML team. So AML team will report to this and this will report to the designated director. So monitoring implementation of KYC AML policies, reporting of transaction to and sharing of the information with FIU, maintaining a liaison with law enforcement agencies, ensuring submission of periodical report to the top management, keeping the AML monitoring system. Then team aapka, we have a team. A distinct functional unit is put in place for taking necessary measure of the compliances with legal and regulatory AML and CFT stipulations. To review and update KYC policy, then to guide the business operation functions in respect of customer identification, due diligence, to undertake MLTF risk assessment, to assist business operations unit in customer risk categorizations, again, to monitor transaction for detection of suspicious transaction, to submit various prescribed report and any information sought to FIU India. Okay? So this is the one which generally comes under this. Okay? Chalo, next one, guys. Now you have to answer this question. Very simple question. I hope everybody knows about this. Okay? Pavnesh sir, very very good morning. How are you? You are very late, huh? Okay? Next week onwards, I'll try to start bit early. ठीक है? So 6 a.m. ठीक है? So I'm adjusting my body clock also. So actually, I used to work in the night because I get time in the night itself. ठीक है? So later on will be like जैसे इस एग्जाम पास आएगा थोड़ा सा जल्दी हम लोग आपका सेशन को स्टार्ट करेंगे. What will be answer for this one? This is very basic ना. We all know about this. So for how long a bank are required to maintain record for transaction under PMLA? So it is for how many years? आपका 5 years. ठीक है. So B will be right answer. C आपका नहीं 5 years. ठीक है. It is 5 years आपका. ठीक है. Not C. Yes. हाँ. So it is minimum and minimum it is आपका the bank must maintain a record as per the regulatory one itself. So it is minimum for 5 years from the date of the transaction. So the date of the transaction to 5 years आपका. ठीक है. So option B will be right answer for this one. Okay? I'll show you here also. So PMLA lays down the following primary obligation for regulated entities including bank, okay, to verify and identify of customers and their beneficial owners, to maintain record of all transactions as specified, furnish information for prescribed transactions. Okay. These records shall be kept a period of 5 years from the date of transactions. Okay? To maintain a record of identity documents and account files and business correspondent of client. These are to be maintained for a period of 5 years from the date of closure of the accounts and end of relationship. Keep all information maintained in the furnace confidential. Before commencement of specific transaction, banks shall carry out the following one. Verify the identity of client by Aadhaar authentications. Examine the ownership or the financial position and sources of funds. Record the purpose behind the transactions. Not to carry out any specified transaction if unable to make a aforesaid measure. If any such transaction are considered suspicious, the business relationship should be put under the enhanced monitoring with a greater scrutiny of the such transaction. All right, clear है? ठीक है. तो it is 5 years, not it is 7 years. ठीक है. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Which of the following statement regarding risk management in banks are not correct? So you have to find out the incorrect statements. Okay? So risk categorization of customer must be reviewed at least every 6 months, but a review is not required if the customer transactions pattern remain unchanged. Okay? So what you say, this statement is right or wrong? Okay? This statement is wrong. Okay? So it should be done at least in every 6 months. This like first half of this statement is right. The second half is but the review is not required. It is like it is regardless of the transaction pattern is remain unchanged or not. ठीक है. तो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, आपको वो करना ही करना है. ठीक है. So this make this statement wrong. Bank must apply risk based approach to mitigate risk, and the board must approve policies, control and procedures for its implementation. The RBA is part of this one, 100% sure. So while assessing MLTF risk, banks should consider only the nature of business and location of customer, as other factors do not significantly impact the risk level. Okay? While assessing ML task, banks should consider only the nature of business and location. See, like you can have the maximum one. ठीक है. जितने sources आपको मिल रहे हैं उसको identify करने के, not only nature of business or location. ठीक है. So this is also wrong. Okay. Bank should ensure that new technologies such as mobile banking and RTGS are introduced only after incorporating appropriate KYC procedures to mitigate this one. This is also true. Okay. So what we have to find out in this case, incorrect statement. So option 1 and 3 आपका 1 and 3 means option A will be right answer for this particular one. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ट्राई करो आंसर करने के लिए, कोई बात नहीं, गलत होगा चलेगा, बट ट्राई. And this explanation part is very very important, so you have to go through these particular one. ठीक है, so first statement was incorrect. Risk categorization review are required at least every 6 months, regardless of whether the customer transaction pattern change or not. Okay, so this is the one. Pehla. Statement third was incorrect because bank must consider multiple factors like nature of business, location, payment mode, financial status, and transaction volumes when assessing ML TF risk. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, so multiple factors आपका nature of business and location was the two, payment mode आपका, financial status or sources of earnings, transaction volumes. So these are some other factors which will also help you to find out the suspicious transactions or to find out any illegal activity in the system itself. All right, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Which of the following statement are correct regarding the obligation of bank under international agreements? ठीक है, so obligation of banks under international agreements, basically for international transactions we have correspondent banking team. So while you are entering into a correspondent banking or with the help of correspondent banking, if you are doing some sort of transactions team, तो वहाँ पे what things you have to take in care. ठीक है, so जिसमें कुछ आपके regulatory guidelines भी आएंगे और कुछ आपका normal team. So banks are prohibited from opening or maintaining accounts of individual entities listed under ISIL, DAS or Al Qaeda sections list and the 1988 sanction, आपका sanction list. ठीक है, these are kind of some आपका illegal or terrorism institution in all. ठीक है, तो जिन्होंने पास्ट में आपका वहां पे क्या किया, फंडिंग्स किए हैं या अदर्स किए हैं, तो दे हैव क्लियरली गिवन अ लिस्ट. सो इफ दैट इज, अगर आप यहाँ पे हो तो इट शुड बी लाइक आपको वहाँ पे ट्रांजेक्शन्स नहीं करने या ओपनिंग और मेंटेनिंग अकाउंट्स विद दीज पर्टिकुलर एंटिटीज आर प्रोहिबिटेड. ट्रू. If bank identify a match with a listed individual entity, it must if bank identify a match with the listed individual entity, if it must report the detail to FIU India and Ministry of Home Affairs as per the UPA notifications. Bank are required to immediately seize and transfer the asset of such इंडिविजुअल एंटिटीज टू द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया. नहीं, देखो यहाँ पे ना आरबीआई इज नहीं, और इवन बैंक आर नॉट, बेसिकली दे आर नॉट लाइक फर्स्ट दे विल गेट ऑर्डर फ्रॉम द होम मिनिस्ट्री. ठीक है, होम मिनिस्ट्री आपका यूनियन होम मिनिस्ट्री विल बी इन्वॉल्व इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस आपका. ठीक है, दिस इज रॉन्ग. एनी अदर यूएनएससी, ठीक है, रेजोल्यूशन, ठीक है, यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल रेजोल्यूशन circulated by RBI must also be noted by the banks. This is 100% true. ठीक है, so what we have to find out correct statement. तो 1 3 4 आपका. ठीक है, 1 3 4 means 1 2 4 आपका. ठीक है, 1 2 4 आपका option B will be right answer for this one. ठीक है, statement 3 was incorrect because bank must freeze assets as per the Ministry of Home Affairs order, not like cease transfer to RBI. ठीक है, so first they have to, no, it is like order will be driven by the given by the Ministry of Home Affairs, then आपका you'll go for the transfer them to RBI. ठीक है, so for, you have to wait for the orders of Home Ministry. How does FATF issue statement identifying countries that does not sufficiently apply FATF recommendations? ठीक है, तो ये दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ स्टैटिक क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, सो यहाँ पे how often does FATF issue statement identifying countries that do not sufficiently apply for FATF recommendation? It is in every 4 months. ठीक है, तो every 4 months आपका where FATF issue the list of countries, black list, grey list या others जो भी आपके हैं. ठीक है, so FATF issue statement of countries that do not or insufficiently apply the FATF recommendations once in every 4 months. तो ये जो टाइम है ना, दैट इज बिट ऑड टाइम. ठीक है, यूजुअली क्या होते हैं, या महीने में होगा या फिर क्वार्टरली होगा या ईयरली होगा या हाफ ईयरली होगा, बट दिस इज इन 4 months इटसेल्फ. तो प्लीज गेस वर्क में ये नहीं आने वाला है पकड़ में, तो ध्यान रखें, ठीक है। बैंक शुड टेक इनटू अकाउंट रिस्क अराइजिंग फ्रॉम deficiencies in AML CFT regime of the jurisdictions included in the FATF statements, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट वन, which of the following statement about correspondent banking and FATCA CRS are correct? So आपका अगर हम लोग बात करें, so so correspondent banking, I hope everybody know about this, ठीक है। So basically जैसे आपने नाम सुना होगा ना, we have आपका nostro account, vostro account and loro account, especially nostro and vostro account, ठीक है। So our money with them, your money with us, ऐसा पढ़ा होगा आपने कभी, ठीक है। So nostro account is basically आपका जैसे कोई इंडियन बैंक, लेट्स से योर बैंक, दे आर मेंटेनिंग सम अकाउंट विद सम फॉरेन बैंक्स इन देयर लोकल करेंसी, ठीक है, करेंसी, ठीक है। Vostro is just opposite of that particular one. Some foreign banks, they are maintaining some rupee accounts with your banks, ठीक है, to do transaction in our country, ठीक है। तो जैसे let's say like it is very hard for every banks to open their branch everywhere in the world, ठीक है। हम हर कंट्री में, हर सिटी में अपना ब्रांच ओपन नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज ब्रांच इट कॉस्ट होता है एक ब्रांच सेटअप में, ठीक है। तो व्हाट वी जनरली डू, वी जनरली गो थ्रू द रूट ऑफ करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंकिंग। तो जिन कंट्रीज में हमारी खुद की ब्रांचेस नहीं है, वहाँ के जो वेल एस्टेब्लिश बैंक है उनके साथ हम एक अकाउंट मेंटेन कर रहे होते हैं उनकी लोकल करेंसी के अंदर, तो दैट इज जनरली कम्स अंडर आपका योर नोस्टो अकाउंट, ठीक है। देन वैसे आपका जस्ट अपोजिट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर वन, वोस्टो, foreign like they are not making any setup or branches in India, they to facilitate their home customers or the potential customers, they open or they maintain some nostro account with our banks, so in our currency, मतलब INR के अंदर आपका, ठीक है। तो that is the one. So now correspondent banking, the first statement itself, they have defined the correspondent banking itself, okay? Correspondent banking involve one bank correspondent holding deposit of other banks and providing payments and other services, तो जैसे like let's say your bank is SBI, they have maintained account with ABC bank in US, and if your bank have to do some transaction on behalf of your customers or even for the proprietary position, so they can use that particular one, ठीक है। So statement one is true. Correspondent banking does not pose any risk related to money laundering or terrorism financing. This is incorrect. They do involve, ठीक है, because the transactions are beyond the nations, ठीक है, आपका नेशनल बाउंड्री से बाहर हो रहे हैं, ठीक है। There is a chances of default or any kind of AML and FT transactions, ठीक है। So basically आपका ML and FT transactions, ठीक है। So this is the simple one, ठीक है। Bank should not establish correspondent relationship with the shell banks, ठीक है, बिल्कुल सही। FATCA require financial institution to report account of US person to US Internal Revenue Services IRS and आपका relevant government authority under the intergovernmental authority. So I'll check this one. I'm not sure about this. CRS apply only to US taxpayers, this is, and does not cover the foreign nationals. This is correct. Bank must be caution while dealing with the correspondent bank in jurisdiction with strategic AML and CFT. This is 100% true, ठीक है। So now अब देखो कई बार ऐसा सिचुएशन होगा, sometime you will also be in the same dilemma कि let's say we do not know about these two statements, ठीक है, हमें we are not confident about this, it is right, but I'm not sure about this particular one, ठीक है। Let's say we face same kind of situation in your examination, ठीक है। तो अगर आपके पास ये सिचुएशन होती है, so what we can do, we can use these options, ऐसे ऑप्शन जिनको हम जानते हैं एटलीस्ट उससे हम शुरू कर सकते हैं। वी आर 100% श्योर अबाउट दिस कि ए जिसमें आपका करस्पॉन्डेंट बैंकिंग होता है क्या है, दैट इज गेट डिफाइंड, ठीक है। तो अब दैट मीन्स दिस ऑप्शन 3 इज आपका एलिमिनेटेड, ठीक है। ऑप्शन 3 एंड ऑप्शन 4 आपका, ठीक है। दीज टू ऑप्शन वी कैन इजीली एलिमिनेट, ठीक है। नाउ वी नो सेकंड वन इज रॉन्ग, ठीक है, सेकंड वन इज रॉन्ग। सो आपका हमें क्या ढूंढना था इसमें, आपका करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट, ठीक है। सो वन इज ट्रू, सेकंड वन इज रॉन्ग, ठीक है। दैट मीन्स दिस इज ऑल्सो गॉट एलिमिनेटेड. So with two options only you can solve these kind of questions. If you do have these kind of confusions, ठीक है, तो इनके हिसाब से आपका statement 4 is also correct, ठीक है, statement 5 is wrong, ठीक है। तो ये आपका इस तरीके से जो है, ठीक है। So please do take care about these things. कभी बार अगर आपको ऐसा लगेगा, if you will trap in the same situations, so you can also use these elimination techniques, ठीक है। परवेश सर and other also. Uh, so statement 2 was incorrect. Correspondent banking carries a risk. Bilkul. Statement 5 was incorrect. CSR applied to all foreign taxpayer. Okay, not only US person. Sorry. So CSR, CRS. Sorry, CRS applied to all foreign. Okay, just I want to check this particular one. Acha, any further query, guys? Common Reporting Standards is an internationally agreed standard for automatic exchange of financial account information between jurisdiction of tax purpose to better combat the tax evasion and ensure tax compliances. Okay? So this is something related to tax compliances at international level. Okay? These are common reporting standards, internationally agreed standard for the automatic exchange of financial account information between jurisdictions. Okay? So that's why this statement was also correct. Nice. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. What is the penalty for a bank or its employee for non-compliance of PMLA obligation? बताइए. What will be your right answer? See, Anjali ma'am, in that case, like if you have this type of question, okay, usually these are half marker questions. Okay? So in this case, we cannot do anything. Okay? If you know, you know. Otherwise, you do not know. Okay? So we do not have any chance in this case. Okay? तो अगर हमें पता है कि exact limit क्या है, then only we can answer. But in our previous question, let's say there are 5 statement or 7 statement, and I have experienced this particular one when I gave this examination in October 2023, even last year also when I met with the candidates. So अगर आप बेंगलुरु में हैं आप में से कोई, ठीक है, so I'll definitely come to the center also, ठीक है. तो they also share this kind of experience, and let's say there are 4 statement or 5 statement. If you know any 3 statement out of those 5 statement, ठीक है, max to max 3 statement, even with 2 statement also you can answer these particular question. So by eliminating those particular things, you do have that paper pen game. So what you can do, you can make a match with 3 options itself. You can solve that particular question. Okay? But the only thing is you do not have to give up after seeing the length of that particular question and all, because it is going to give you after 2 marks in that case. Okay? But in these kind of things where we generally need we need to practice these particular one more and more. Okay? Anjali ma'am is saying option C, a fine between 10,000 and 1 lakh per violations. ठीक है, so that is आपका that is true. हाँ, that is 100% true. ठीक है. So under the PMLA, the director of FIU India can impose a monetary penalty ranging from आपका 10,000 to 1 lakh violation each day for delay in considered as the separate violation also, right? So this is the one. So a bank face risk of penal actions by RBI and directors for non-compliance this same. So PMLA has empowered director FIU to take any of the following uh, punitive measures against a bank, any of its employee, manager or directors. Issue a written warning. Same. First one, direct to take specific remedial measure and to submit the action taken report on these. And then third one is impose monetary penalty with a minimum 10,000 to maximum 1 lakh per violation. Okay? Each day of delay in submission of some information or transaction or a report or in rectification of information or report is renowned as a one violation. ठीक है, तो अगर आप डिले कर रहे हो तो एक वायलेशन और माना जाएगा. ठीक है, in that particular case also, right? So this is the one. ठीक है. So this is all about your unit number second. Okay? So let us sum up. So bank are exposed to abuse of their services by criminal for a purpose of money laundering, financing terrorism, and financial crimes. So FIU has been set up for collecting, analyzing, and dismantling information about the suspicious financial transaction to the law enforcement agency, ED, is responsible for investigating and prosecution of the criminals, and a special code educate of the money laundering related to cases. ठीक है? All financial sector businesses and certain non-financial sector businesses are required to comply with the obligation under PMLA. These pertain to customer identification, due diligence, reporting of specified transactions to FIU India, and maintaining records. These report to FIU India has our cash transaction report CTR, or it can be cross border wire transfer report, again non-profit organization transaction report. Then we have counterfeit currency report and suspicious transaction report. Bank need to assess at least once a year MLFT risk from various sources, undertake a risk categorization of customers, product, services, delivery channels, region, countries. Bank need to exercise appropriate diligence in handling transaction or customer concern with the FATF identified risk and weak countries. Bank also need to conduct adequate due diligence when providing or availing correspondent banking services with bank in other countries. Okay? So this was your basic major summary. Okay? Objective of KYC is to ensure appropriate customer identification. ठीक है? आपका to monitor transaction of suspicious true, to ensure that customer would not deceive bank. ठीक है? No. To ensure if loan, अच्छा okay, हाँ, option E is also there. ठीक है? So option E will be correct answer. Bank appoint a dash who is responsible for submission of report to FIU. So it is designated director. ठीक है? So under designated director we have principal officer, then we have आपका task force. ठीक है? Customer are typically categorized in dash risk categories. ठीक है? So we have three risk categories. ठीक है? I hope you guys know about this one. ठीक है? Three risk categories. We have low risk, we have medium risk, we have high risk. In case of low risk customers, that is, I guess it is 10 years. ठीक है? So that KYC is done in 10 years. ठीक है? In medium risk it is 3 years. Then आपका in high risk it is आपका every years. ठीक है? तो इस तरीके से कुछ तो गाइडलाइंस हैं. We'll be discussing that particular one. ठीक है? Director FIU India can take action against for violation of PMLA obligation, bank के against, principal officer, any employee, all. ठीक है? Non-profit organization transaction report pertain to dash account of NPO. ठीक है? Cash transaction आपका receipt above the threshold value, cash receipt, तो क्या होगा आपका all transactions. ठीक है? So B will be right answer for this one. So this is it. Okay? So this is all about your unit number 2, which is AML and KYC. Okay? The basic introduction in part of this particular unit. All right. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Now what you suggest, guys? Okay, done. Acha. So everybody left. Actually, we have one another unit also. Okay? So if you want to, okay. Just a minute. I just want to check. Okay, first just give me 1 minute. So general banking operation, I just want to check the KYC part, how many slides we have. So it's again very lengthy topic. Chalo, we'll continue this particular one in our next session itself, because it will also require a lots of discussion and all. So module A, unit 1 and 2. So, actually I'm not feeling that good. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा एक बार मेरा बॉडी क्लॉक सेट हो जाता है और आप लोग भी, आई गेस एवरीबॉडी लेफ्ट. ठीक है, सो फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट यूनिट ऑनवर्ड्स और नेक्स्ट सेशन आपका, जहाँ पे विल ट्राई जो छोटे यूनिट्स हैं एटलीस्ट उनको आपका 2-3 में कवर करें. एवरी डे यूज टू ट्राई कि हम मैक्सिमम आपका कवर कर लें. ठीक है, बट it will require that same set of energy. So please do revise these today's session. ठीक है, and today I'll upload the PDF also. कल मेरा थोड़ा सा मेरे से मिस हो गया था. ठीक है, so I'll upload those particular one, and in next session we will be continuing with our unit 3 and unit 4 का I have to check the content की और कितना यहाँ डिटेल में वो है. If it is shorter, so we'll try to cover up in one. ठीक है, so ये कुछ टॉपिक हैं like जहाँ से you cannot eliminate these particular one because we'll definitely see the statement based question and all. ठीक है, एंड मॉड्यूल ए विच हैज 21 यूनिट्स, ठीक है, जो आधा आपका सिलेबस ले लेता है पूरा, ठीक है। एंड मॉड्यूल जो बाकी के हैं दे हैव लाइक स्मॉलर सेट ऑफ यूनिट्स। ओवरऑल हमारे यूनिट बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, 55 यूनिट्स हैं, ठीक है। सो विल ट्राई टू कवर अप, ओके। चलो, तो आज के लिए इतना ही करते हैं गाइस। आई विल सी यू टुमारो एट 7 AM एंड फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट वीक ऑनवर्ड्स वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग एट 6 AM, ठीक है। तो आप लोगों को भी थोड़ा सा टाइम मिल जाएगा प्रिपेयर होने के लिए और सब चीज़ों के लिए। एंड वी हैव टू गिव मोर टाइम फ्रॉम लाइक नाउ इटसेल्फ, ठीक है। सो मॉड्यूल वाइज जो कंपाइलेशन है उनको एक बार गो थ्रू कीजिएगा, मतलब व्हाट यू कैन डू वाज द समरी वीडियो, देन आपका यूनिट वाइज MCQs का कंपाइलेशन, ठीक है। देन प्रैक्टिस थ्रू आपका मॉड्यूल वाइज मॉक, ठीक है। सो मॉड्यूल वाइज मॉक आपका 8 मॉक्स अवेलेबल हैं हर सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर, ठीक है। 8 मॉक्स मीन्स आपका 4 मॉक्स आपका यूनिट वाइज एंड 4 मॉक्स आपका मिक्स क्वेश्चन। तो अगर आप इनको बार बार प्रैक्टिस करेंगे ना, सो यू विल बी एबल टू मेक योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग रिगार्डिंग द कॉन्टेंट्स। तो वहाँ पर आपको डिटेल सोल्यूशंस भी मिल जाएंगे, तो वो आपको बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्प करेंगे, ठीक है दोस्तों। सो दिस इज इट फ्रॉम माई साइड। थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग दिस सेशन, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस सेशन। बाय बाय, टेक केयर ऑल एंड हैव अ नाइस डे। थैंक यू।